Good morning. Good morning. Trying to get this throat together a little bit. It's Karen Sims coming with Reflections of Purpose today. This is something that we do a couple of times a week. So getting on here, it's Tuesday. Don't know, Testimony Tuesday, Thankful Tuesday. But welcome, Twisted Threads, Facebook, YouTube. You know how we do. We get right into it. Share, like, do all of that stuff. If something that you hear resonates with you, makes you laugh, put some encouragement in your day. But today's title is Get Some of what? I was thinking about some things that I was having a conversation with someone who was talking about sharing or listening to experiences from older people. And the conversation went like, we started talking about mentors and people who had mentored us in the past. And I think in that person's mind, it was kind of like, well, I didn't have any mentors. And it's like, well, yeah, you do. And a lot of times we have, what do we want to call them? Undocumented mentors. And so those people who are mentors in our life who don't even know it. So it might be mom, it might be grandmom, it might be auntie. Everybody need an auntie because some of this stuff that happened in the world, especially with our young children. Look, aunties, if y'all was on task, some of this stuff wouldn't go down because my aunties were the truth. But Get Some was my thought of, scripturally, in our scriptures, it tells us, to get wisdom, that in all our getting, we want to get understanding, we want to get wisdom, we want to get knowledge. But a lot of times, especially when I come on here, I'm sharing with you, my experiences, tips, and guidance for, how to maneuver through life. But a lot of times, you don't see the back end. You don't see when I'm not speaking. So, people who scroll past and be like, oh my goodness, there she go again. What does she have to say? It's not a good way, I love you too in a particular way. I'm learning better how to love those who are more haters than not, but it's good. You have a purpose in my life, so I appreciate you. Morning, Sharon. Love you. I see the pictures of the girls. Oh my goodness. My babies, they grown women now, Lord have mercy. But with all our getting, we want to get wisdom. And so today I thought, instead of talking about what are the things you need to do, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about for a few quick minutes on how to get it. And see, getting wisdom is real easy a lot of times, but we make it more difficult. I laugh because sometimes I say, at my job, we try to overcomplicate things. So it's like, it's a simple way. I try to keep it simple. How do we get from point A to point B without too much, interruptions and situations? So when it comes to getting wisdom, tip number one, shut your mouth. You can't learn and speak at the same time. If it is your purpose to learn something, a lot of times, whether you're taking a class, whether you're taking a course, whether you're going to your sip and paint, you have to listen to instruction. And so listening to instruction gives you a better understanding of the task at hand. It gives you, morning, Shelby. Thanks so much for joining. Like and share, you all know. It gives you an opportunity to kind of let what you're hearing sink in. But if you only listen to respond, chances are you're really not learning something. Why? Because we are great at multitasking. A lot of times women, they say, oh, women are good at multitasking. When it comes to getting wisdom, the purpose of shutting up is so that all of your senses get to focus on what's being said to you. So a lot of times we think like, oh, well, we can't get wisdom from our children. I get a lot of wisdom from my children. I also know why I don't do what I, should not do, because I see them and it's like, oh yeah, I knew that was going to happen. So now we in a different place. Getting wisdom. So number one is shut up. Number two is revisit and give yourself time to reflect on what was said to you. And it may be just something that you saw, something that you observed. There's a thing about being quiet. When you are quiet, it's an opportunity for all of your senses to really experience the world. And you experience the world in a different way when you just be still and know. So that's point number two. Number one is shut up. Shut up. Be quiet. Shut your trap. Number two is be still and know that something is going to come to impact your life when you are sitting still and being quiet and observing. So, number 3, observation. I told you we on here real quick. Get some. What are we getting some? We're getting wisdom. We're getting understanding. And so these are the ways to get understanding. So as you are listening and you're observing, you want to take note of your observations. Take note of the things that make you upset. Take note of the things that make you angry. Take note of the things that draw you to them. So I love it because I don't, raising kids, my experience, I survived it. And we had great times. We had awesome times. But a lot of times we had hard times. So I love it because this time of year, I celebrate my dad's birthday last week. And then my youngest son's birthday is next week. So within 2 weeks' time, we celebrate who was my baby in the family. And then who was our patriarch is my dad. And I always love it because I get to see the comparison, and it's right relevant in my face of the steps that my father took. And some of those steps I've never been able to take. And it's because he took those steps so that I wouldn't have to. Let that sink in. Certain things he endured so that I would never have to experience the things that he experienced. And then I come along, and I'm like, well, I know everything and I'm going to do my thing. And then I have children of my own. And my youngest son, I love because he learned, I think, a little bit better than the rest of them. It's like, oh, you do that? Okay, yeah. I'm going to watch and I'm going to observe. Ooh, you got in trouble for that. Check. I'm not going to do that. Ooh, you got in trouble for that. I'm not going to do that. See, this is simple. When people think about getting wisdom, you think that is hard. Lamont, my youngest son, he would never get in trouble. Now, he learned a lot. A lot. I pray he never uses half of the stuff that he learned from his siblings. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But what he also learned to do was, while he was watching them, he would watch me. And he'd be like, okay, I want to see what mommy's reaction is to that. And so when I say that, I'm proud of all of my children. But Lamont was that one who was like, I'm going to move how mommy moves. Why? Because I like the outcomes that she comes with. And so a lot of us, maybe not all of our moves are things that our children could emulate, but there was something. And it's not like he takes every step that I take. He, went to school his own way, but it wasn't the way that I wanted him to go, And the thing that I forgot is that I was showing him what to do. He was observing and taking mental notes of what success looked like. So when he was the youngest, I think he was in elementary school, I started my undergrad, or I re-entered into my undergrad career. And so he saw me go to school, and I went to community college because it was what I could afford, and I got great learning there. So I went to Northampton Community College, and so when it was time for him, he's like, Mom, I'm going to community college. And I'm like, this is not how you do it. You go to a 4-year school. He's like, yeah, I know, Mom, but this is the way that I want to do it. And I could have hindered him. I could have strong-armed him, put my thumb on his neck and everything. No, you will do it my way. But I gave him the opportunity to do it his way, and he graduated with his associate's degree. And meanwhile, I had already graduated, and I was all on my way to DeSales University, and graduated from there. And then he saw that whole situation and how that unfolded, and then he decided to continue his undergrad at DeSales University. So we created a family legacy. Now, then I completed my master's degree. And so we started having these conversations, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to get my master's degree. And I was like, that's great. And then I told him, well, I'm going to get my doctorate degree. He's like, okay, Ma, you're doing too much. Have a great day, Shelby. He's like, you're doing too much, Ma. Like, I can't keep up with all of that. And this whole time, I just thought, he's doing what he needs to do, and it's not really a big deal. And then I understood that he was trying to follow in my footsteps, but apparently I'm leaving too many for the boy. And he like, all right, Ma, like, you got to slow down. And all of that, I tell you these stories because the reason why it is important for you to get wisdom is because somebody needs to get wisdom from you. Yeah, I know you thought this was just only going to be about what am I going to get? How am I going to get those things? But you gotta shut your mouth, be quiet and listen. You want to be reflective about the things that you're hearing and seeing. You want to observe the things that are around you. And if you don't have, if you don't have anyone in your path, who's going the way that you're going. Find somebody who's further up the road when it comes to what you see as success, what your definition of success is. Because maybe my position, in a nonprofit is not what my children want. They each actually have a different view on what life is supposed to be, what it looks like to be successful for them. And so they connect with people sometimes, not all the time. But you want to encourage not just your children, you want to encourage all of your loved ones, even if it's a sister. Let them know, hey, look, sis, you want to know, a business person. Shelby is a great example of an awesome businesswoman, and the support that she gets from her family and her husband, particularly, because a lot of times we think, oh no, we can't do this and raise our family, or we can't do that and do things in other areas. But the fact of the matter is, with the right support system, we really can multitask and do it all. But getting that mentor, getting that business mentor in entrepreneurship, getting that business mentor in business, in government. I'm going to keep on talking about us voting, because we have a lot of women that are coming to the plate and saying, I'm the answer. I'm the change that I want to see. And so I'm going to put my name on the ballot, and I'm running for office, and vote for them, and I don't have a gender preference, but I love the fact that women are moving more into the government, because we've got ideas, because we know how to do things, because we want to see change. And so the thing is, with Getting Wisdom, I talked yesterday about consistent hope. And when you have that consistent hope, you understand that it's you that is impacting the world. But God has given us talents. He's blessed us with things. And sometimes, we don't always understand what it means, the perfecting of our faith. Well, the perfecting of our faith gives us the opportunity to say, I believe in this thing, but help my unbelief. I'm good, in this particular sense, but Lord, don't let the hood come out. Those type of things. So we each have things that we need to work on and try to figure out, how do we perfect these gifts that have been bestowed on us. And so I love it that we have this opportunity. So get some. We want to get wisdom. We want to get understanding. Here's the homework. You always know I try to give some homework. Find you a old person. And I say old on purpose. Now, don't tell them I said that they was old because I want to buy a couple for me. Because look, old people sometimes be reckless, because, they've been riding with Jesus for a long time. I ain't sure. But look, get you somebody. I'm going to say over 70. Have a conversation, take them to get some coffee, some ice cream, a dessert, maybe go on a walk with them. Just sit still and get in their presence. And here's the reason for that. Wisdom needs application. And a lot of times we may get wisdom and not know what to do with it. I shared a Facebook post that was a couple of years ago. And I remember telling my kids, no person ever wants to live their life after losing their mother. Like, that's the hardest thing in the world. And my kids told me I was conceited. They was like, Ma, you conceited. You think that, the world revolves around you. So you thinking don't nobody want to live in the world without you. And now that my mom has passed, they understand that lesson a little bit better. But the lesson was taught before application. So this is the reason why getting you somebody, when I say old, and I respectfully, because being old is something that we all should aspire for, but many of us don't get there. 70 and above, find you somebody. Okay, if they 67, 68, they qualify. But get you between that retirement age all the way up. Keep going. If you find somebody 90, Lord, you're going to have you a good conversation. Here's the reason. Just talk and soak with them. Talking and soaking is you're listening to their story. You want to know the things that they have been through. You want to know the things that they've endured. You want to know how they endured it. How did they stay married for 30 years, or 50 years if they got married really young? How did they live life after maybe a divorce or the loss of a spouse? How did they deal with raising some bad kids and not kill them? Look, these are real things. How did they progress in their career to see success for maybe 40 or 50 years, or 30, whatever it was, before they got to that retirement? And if they're still working now, what's the reason for their working? If they are strong in their faith, what kept them during the trying years? Getting wisdom sometimes means you got to take the time and create the opportunity to get it. So the same thing if it was school, you show up to class, whether it's online or you're going to the university or to the class, you're going to be present in that moment so that you don't miss a thing. So your homework, find somebody older, preferably over 70, have a conversation with them about their views on the world, about their views on faith, about their views on marriage, about their views on success and career. And I promise you will be blown away. Why? Because as I mentioned before, Timmy, you already know my nephew's in the house. Okay, I'm gonna stay focused. Look, the same thing that I said about my father and the wisdom that I was able to see. There were certain things that I never had to endure because he did it for me. This the same thing, my nephew is on here. I love him, love my kids and my grandchildren. Niece and nephews, you already, nieces and nephew, however it go. Anyway, Timmy my only nephew, so he gets spoiled as much as possible. But here's the deal. There are things that I endured so that he wouldn't, so that my children wouldn't. They got wisdom by watching. They got wisdom by learning, but they also got wisdom because we took time to say, okay, stop everything, and I'm going to give you a lesson right now. It may not apply. Understand that some of the lessons that we learn are not for today, but you can put them on the shelf. A lot of times we got that pumpkin spice. Okay, whatever. We got nutmeg. You got something in your cabinet. You got that poultry seasoning that you only use at holiday time, but you keep it in your cabinet. Why? Because you know you're going to need it. I got cranberry sauce already. I got canned milk already. I got eggs. Well, they're not going to last till Thanksgiving, but anyway, that's a whole nother thing. You got things that physically you keep in your cupboards so that when you want them, when you need them, you just get ready to grab them. This is the same way we got to treat wisdom. This is the same way we got to treat what it is. So you got your homework. Talk to an old person, somebody over 70, spend some time with them. Timmy does that all the time. He goes out to dinner with my father. They call him Poppy, and I'm sure Poppy telling him something to do. And he's like, oh my goodness, Poppy. But he's listening. And so he's getting lessons on life, even without thinking about it. The next thing and the final thing that I'll mention is be mindful that somebody needs your wisdom too. I always tell you with The World is Waiting for You series, somebody need to know how to cook, like my sister Sharon. That might be me. It might be a cooking class. It may be just to invite some people over and, we have beverages and dessert while we looking at our sister cook and learn some new technique or learn something that we need to do. Everybody can't burn in the kitchen. And it's a lot of people that don't know how to cook because, everybody's not taking time with them. But when we figure out that we want to learn, you don't have to even think about, so what do I want to learn? It doesn't matter. You're going to learn something. And as we get that knowledge and that understanding and people are coming to listen to us, we then get to understand the impact that we have on the world. And that's the biggest thing is when I come on here, I try to encourage you because a lot of times, before social media, we would stay in our own corners and we'd raise our families and we meet at church and we fellowship and then we go back to our separate corners without really realizing that the world needs us. It's like, if you really think about the world needing you, that changes your whole perspective on how you move, on how you react to things, because you're not going to put yourself in harm's way. You're not going to think about things in a negative way, but you're going to try to figure out how you let love and light shine before people in a way that literally wipes out hate. So, we got so many things around the world. Get some wisdom. You got your homework. Let me know how things happen when you start talking to them older people, and understand that every lesson that you get it may not be for you to apply today, but it will be relevant to you. Why? Because most of us want to get over 70. I want to see over 70. My middle son tells me I'm not allowed to die until I reach at least 80. So we got a few more years of rolling with the Karen. If, because he prayed for that thing. He'd be like, no, Lord, I need her till she at least 80. So, 40 acres and a mule or whatever, 4 score. Yeah, that's what that is. But he's serious about that thing. He's like, that ain't gonna work for me. I think I could do okay after you get to 80, but before then, no. But, you know, his thing, he thinks that I'm going to raise his children and do all of that. So, you know, when I come up missing, y'all will know that me and Joshua done had some kids, because what he not going to do is drop those kids off at my house. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. I hope something that you heard today is impactful to you. Get some. We need to get wisdom. We need to get knowledge, because guess what? Today we're here for a purpose, and that purpose may not be revealed to us as soon as we wake up in the morning, but we're breathing, which means the world still needs our presence, needs our voice, needs our vote, needs our understanding, needs our empathy, and needs whatever the plan that God has placed in us for us to impact the world. You all have a great day. Remember, this is your Reflections of Purpose. We'll be on here again another time this week, trying to remain consistent. Keep hope alive, all of those things. I love you all tremendously. Be good to somebody today. Start with yourself. Have a great day.